No, okay.
Who knows?
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott.
And I'm Ben. Hi.
There's I haven't manned the podcast for 2 weeks, so oh,
Has it really
oh
been that long?
yeah, we didn't do one last week.
Yeah, so I guess that has been 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I was in my brain when you said that. I was thinking that like you said we missed two, but then that would have been
nope.
3 weeks.
Yep.
So, anyways, I can math.
Sorry, math is harder than Saturday morning. It's cold here in the Washington area, the Pacific Northwest, if you will. It's acting like it's somewhere else because we hardly ever get snow, but we've had like 2 major snowstorms. We're getting another one on Monday. It's really the end of the
Major. We have to be clear that major snowstorm here is nothing for basically the rest of the country.
Well, okay, so the rest of the country doesn't have the hills that we do. So like, there's like if you go to like Minnesota or like the Midwest where it's flat, it's a little bit easier to deal with the snow.
Well, also they just simply have the infrastructure.
That
like they,
I mean,
they
there's a
have
bunch
salt
of reasons
trucks and plows and
we're
everything.
not
We don't
we're
have
not
that.
prepared for this in any way. But so I was texting my parents, and this is one of the like I sent them a picture of the first day of like the last snowstorm, and it was like, oh, it's Snowpocalypse 2019. We will rebuild. And then the next day, like some of the snow had melted or whatever, and I took another picture, and I was like, day 2 of the snowpocalypse. Supplies running low. Had to eat the neighbor's cat. Neighbors displeased. Sent that to my family, and they enjoyed it because
yeah,
Boston gets foot of snow pretty consistently,
like twice a month.
It got down to like -20 for my sister in Minnesota, so
yeah.
I'm like, it's like 30
like,
degrees. There's like a light dusting of snow here. It's like, oh my god, freak out. Anyway,
yeah.
we're here
people
for.
are buying out stores, so.
Oh my god, it's crazy. I almost went,
ridiculous.
but I was like, I got enough stuff. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I walk 30 minutes and buy food at some restaurant that's open or whatever.
Exactly.
Because I'm pretty close to the major shopping center. Anyway, this is a gaming podcast, not a weather podcast, and so we're going. I'm in the wrong podcast. Gotta go. I'm out. I have a weather podcast to get to. Anyway, so our boy Ben here won his first ever Battle Royale game playing Apex Legends. Woo! I was part of it. I was a major part of it because he had to revive me a whole bunch. And he couldn't have done it without me, really.
I mean, you drew fire a lot.
I drew a lot of fire. And then to top things off, on the very next game, we won another one. That one I actually contributed a good amount to.
Yeah, and I drew a lot of fire.
We all drew a lot of fire.
That's true.
And both games, our teammates did absolutely nothing except for draw fire.
Yeah. I think in the first game, our teammate had 1 kill, maybe?
No.
Or was that the second one?
Nope. Neither of our teammates got any kills.
Neither of them?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you know.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. Anyway, so I guess we should start off. For those who don't know, Apex Legends is Respawn, the former creators of Call of Duty that turned into the creators of Titanfall, put out a free Battle Royale game. Major differences from any other Battle Royale game is that you have classes that kind of like play like somewhat like Overwatch characters, but they only have one special ability and then like a passive of some kind. And then a ultimate that comes up every once in a while. And that's really the major thing.
I mean,
there's a bunch of polish that goes that went into it that makes it.
Yes. And honestly, I feel like that's what makes it so much of a better experience for me, even in comparison to Call of Duty Black Ops 4's Blackout mode. Because granted, it's been a little while since I've played any Blackout, so I don't know what type of changes have gone in with the most recent patches and everything.
Yeah.
I'm
can you hold that thought for though? I want to
sure.
Sorry. I want to get to back to our wins. I just wanted to set the stage because we got right. Clips, yo.
Sorry.
We got clips of our wins. So we got this new fantastic layout that I've had forever, but I've only figured out now how to get it to work.
Yeah.
So we go.
Zevi, please be careful. That is the power button.
We go over here and bam, we're smaller. Still in frame. All that. Look at that. You'll see it in a second on the stream. Don't worry.
Oh, nice.
It. Yeah. And then what we're gonna do is turn on Ben's win. This is our first win right here. And Ben's gonna fucking masterfully resurrect everyone. Oh man, this is like a little bit 2-minute clip here. You can walk us through what you're thinking during this time. You're like, damn, I gotta win this battle royale game.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I had completely lost track of how many people were even alive or anything.
Oh, okay.
And Zevran, please pause away from the power button on the computer. And at this point,
hey, look, there's
I was obviously taking fire, from the hill over there. And I'm watching this on a little bit of a delay than what you are. So
yeah.
I was basically having to kind of like bounce back and forth between you, the enemies, and our other teammate, and just like reviving you guys in the hopes that we would win. And like I said, I had completely forgotten that there were only, I think when we entered this area, there were like 3 squads left.
Yeah.
And we got really lucky in the fact that like the last circle happened to be right where we already were, and the other 2 teams were like on the hills.
Lucky is a strong term because there was a lot of people like surrounding us.
Yeah. Like right where I am up near the end. Like when I jump down and start shooting at the guy that just killed you again. Those cliff areas, we had originally had a little bit of a team fight up there, and that's where this clip started.
Yeah.
And there were 2 or 3 people up there, and me and our ally went over there, and then you kind of came up behind.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, like we killed them, and I think that was, I guess, like squad that would have been in 3rd place at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then the squad that was in 2nd place was on the far hill that you saw, and they started like sniping at us and everything, and
yeah,
it was intense. And I didn't even like realize when I killed that last guy that it was the last guy, and I got excited.
Yeah.
When the "You Are Champion" popped up on the screen and everything. So
oh yeah, for sure, completely reasonable. Like I remember my first PUBG win when it was just like you play like 30 games, 40 games, and you're just like, I hate this. I hate it. You get like a couple 2nd places, and you're like I think even when like you and I played PUBG on Xbox, like our first few games, we got like a couple like 2nd and 3rd place finishes, like so freaking close. I remember that one that we were like on the river, and there's like 1 squad left, but there was like they just like, or no, there were 2 squads left, and they were just like pinging us from both sides, and I was like, so close. But yeah, you were money that game. That was absolutely fantastic. Like you were just like revive, revive.
Yeah, I think I ended with like 6 kills or something that game.
That was,
I tried to get the scoreboard in there.
Or no, I think you got 7 kills. Actually, in that game. In the next game, I got 6 kills. Unfortunately, I didn't record it because I was so focused on trying to win this. Right before.
I recorded my perspective. Let me see if it actually uploaded.
It did. I didn't
last
download
night.
it. It was there. I didn't download it though. Did you get my triple kill?
At the very end.
Yeah. No. So I have my perspective of the last 2 kills. I don't have the triple kill before then.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So Ben ran up like to this hillside, and then all of a sudden there were 3 guys, and he drew a lot of fire, and I came in with a shotgun and killed them all. That's basically what happened. Like I said, I was like, there was only one squad left at that point, so I was like, oh, we gotta fucking win this. So I killed them, did a little quick loot, and then I booked it and didn't record the triple kill, which was pretty dope. And this is how, and then Ben downed one guy. I finished it, and then that's pretty much where this clip starts with two. It's a 3v2. Our teammate, of course, not doing anything, and I'm 100% out of any long range ammo. I have a shotgun during this.
Oh, you were completely out of ammo? I don't think I realized that.
I was completely out of anything except for shotgun ammo. I was just like,
That's
please
amazing.
come closer. Please come closer. And then they did. And this is what happened. Yeah, so I'm doing a little heal, you know, just keeping it pretty simple there. I'm like, there they are. They're coming closer. I'm like, all right, this is my moment. I'm gonna pop this smoke grenade because I'm playing as no idea what the character's name is. Getting shot at, so I get the speed boost, and I'm like, boom, right behind him. One shot, two shot, got him. Yeah, and
nice.
Yeah, it really love that Peacekeeper. It's fucking money.
Yeah, the Peacekeeper is really good, and I've actually, I've really started to enjoy the Hemlock and the Longbow.
There we go. Yeah.
Just because I feel like the Hemlock offers range while also still providing a decent bit of suppression potential, I guess. Since it's 3-round burst.
Or one,
and then the
or you can put it in single shot.
Oh yeah. And then the longbow is just a nice heavy sniper. Like, I used to always go for the scout just because it has a faster fire rate and everything, but I feel like it doesn't hit hard enough.
No, I really don't like light ammo weapons, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that I've found the Hemlock and everything. I used to typically go for like an SMG because the SMGs specifically can melt people pretty quickly in close quarters, but like you have to be close quarters.
Yeah.
They don't really have any range to them, so
I'm
gonna
like an SMG for one more second because I want to talk about the game right after that.
No.
So we won 2 in a row. We're going into our third game. Our teammate, or like, we run into 3 people and we don't have any long range weapons. So Ben called, like, pings to leave. We leave. Our teammate dies, and I'm like, fuck it, we're going back in because we Ben and I, we both had shotguns, and our guy died in a pretty like kind of like a hallway thing. And we just come in and we fucking bum rush them, kill the team, and then we proceed to like go through the entire game. We end up getting 3rd place, 4th place.
I think so, yeah.
Third place I never got a long range weapon until the very end, and then we almost wipe another squad to get 2nd place. And I was so mad. I was so mad. Yeah, because I was like, we're gonna do it, but I was like, I would like go into every building. I was like, please, just a ranged weapon, just one. Just give me something. And there was absolutely nothing.
For days.
We finally came across the body, and I got like I don't know if it was an assault rifle or SMG. I think it was like a stronger SMG. And the circle's closing in, and then we like turn to like fight a group, and then I mean, Ben lost a 1v1 at the end. It was a rough one.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't his fault by any means. He had to reload, but
yeah, that one was just super shitty. Yeah. Just because like that reload was so poorly timed, but it was like, I'm out of ammo in my other gun, and like I just killed this other guy, so I have to reload now, and it took fucking ever. I think there's a little bit of a hidden mechanic in Apex that if your gun is empty, it takes substantially longer to reload.
Interesting.
I have no justification to I have no proof other than I feel like that's a thing, because I've noticed at random points that the reloads take far longer than what they do at other times. And it's usually when I'm like, oh crap, I'm out of ammo.
Yeah. If you guys know anything, let us know in the comments. Yeah, that was like, because I think you down one of them. I ended up downing the guy that was running through the out of bounds. I don't know. It's not blue, but we'll call it the orange, whatever. It's like the stupid wraith. So it's like she's able to like disappear for a little bit, and she ended up in the circle. And I was like, it was annoying. Because I think she also doesn't take the damage from there, or else she would have gone down in there, and then I could have turned and focused on the guy to my left.
On the guy behind the rock. That's
what it is. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
So those are our stories. We're pretty good. We'll probably next time we play, I'll actually stream it, because we're that damn good. And yeah, so now we can actually talk about the game design. I won't interrupt you this time. Yeah. So hit us up with your thoughts, Ben.
Okay. Sorry, I'm keeping a cat away from the power button on my keyboard. He's right here. So
Hi, Zevran.
Would you stop it? He's like flopping around now trying to attack me. Anyways, so calm down. So I guess where I want to start when it comes to this game is to be perfectly transparent. The Battle Royale games that I have played enough to say that I can have a fair opinion about them are only PUBG, Fortnite, and Blackout.
I'm
Fortnite
pretty much the same.
Yeah, Fortnite is the one that I've played the least of, but I've still played like 5-6 games, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Fortnite footage, so yeah.
And that being said, Apex Legends is hands down the best Battle Royale experience I've ever had. And that isn't just simply because of the level of polish, because I feel like that's PUBG's major downfall.
That is definitely
It has been out for so long. Whether you're talking about PC or the Xbox version, it doesn't really matter at this point. PUBG has been out for so long, and they still, last time I played it, have problems with stability and frame rate.
I will say that the PC version has come a long ways. It's and I think that like the Xbox version still lags behind, but
sure.
The way that it was meant to be played on a PC, it plays a lot better than it did at launch. Like, it's definitely improved.
Well, that's good.
And I'll talk to PUBG a little bit more later, like the differences.
Okay, good. Yeah, because you can definitely speak to that better than I can. And outside of performance, because like that's not typically anything that I can or that will ruin my personal experience with a game. It can hinder it, definitely, and if it's bad enough, then it will ruin it. But like, I'm not a frame rate or even resolution elitist in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I've been playing Dragon Age Origins lately, which is an Xbox 360 game, so it's like the graphics are dated, the gameplay mechanics are again dated, but I feel like they've aged well. That's another topic, though. Anyways, so the other major thing with PUBG in release, I feel like Apex's inventory management system is far superior.
Oh my goodness!
Like for PUBG, in order to drop something, I have to open my backpack, like tab over to it, and then scroll down through a big long list.
Yep. And
but
then sometimes
in Apex Legends, I just open my menu and then I have a It's not like I have to tab between menus. It's just cursor, I go to the thing, hit one button, and it's done.
Yep. Playing PUBG on the Xbox, again, this isn't so much a problem on PC. But on Xbox, I sometimes lost where I was in the menu. I was like,
yeah,
what am I highlighted right now? And then like I would end up dropping my 4X off my sniper and be like, that's not what I wanted to do. Now I got to go through the process of putting it back on. This like
and
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, that kind of brings up the other aspect of inventory management, which is attachment management. Like in PUBG, if you drop a gun with attachments on it, the attachments stay on the gun, which is nice in a sense. Like if you're wanting to give a gun to a friend and you don't want it or need it or whatever, then all the attachments go with it. But at the same time, like if you found an M4 and then you found an M16 later on and you wanted to swap to that, and any applicable attachments you wanted to transfer from one to the other, you would have to take the attachments off and then drop them on the ground, then swap the weapons, then pick them up and then reattach them.
Yeah.
And in Apex Legends, it's literally like, oh, these weapons are similar, or they share these things. So if you swap the weapon, we'll automatically transfer these over, and any of the attachments that maybe aren't compatible will just go into your backpack.
Yep.
Or be dropped if you're full in your inventory.
Yep. It's
such a little thing, but I feel like it helps get to the action a lot faster.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, so last time we talked about this, we were talking about Blackout, and I was saying that basically Blackout gets you into like, it takes away some of the frustration. Like when you pick up a weapon, it already got the ammo in it, as opposed to PUBG. When you pick up a weapon, you have to then pick up the ammo separately, and then you have to reload the gun, and then you have it. And Apex does the same thing, where when you pick up a weapon, you have the ammo. It's already loaded and all that. But it does take it a step further, where it's just like it automatically transfers your attachments, like you said, and all that. Like, and it's one of those things where it's like, I get why PUBG might not want that system, because it's like, oh, it's a choice to pick up a weapon, it takes you time, whatever. Like, but that's not a fun choice, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's not like, okay, because if there's a better gun on the ground, you're not going to not take the 10 to 15 seconds to pick it up because, oh, I have to do like my weapon attachments. And again, this is on PC. Xbox is a whole nother story, where it's like maybe 30 seconds to manage that inventory system, unless like you know it inside and out. Like that's not a fun choice. It's not. But I think at this point, PUBG hides too much of the fun.
I would definitely have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And so this is going to kind of branch into one of the quote unquote bad things about Apex, which is still a bad thing, but opposite side of the spectrum in PUBG, and that's player visibility. In PUBG, I feel like player visibility is excruciatingly low. Like, you could run by someone who was laying prone in a bush or something and not even realize it.
Yeah.
And you could do that very easily. And I feel like Apex kind of has the opposite problem. Like, when we are, like 250, 300, meters away from another team, and I can ping them with my 1X.
Yeah.
Because I can see them, I feel like that's
the ping feature is fairly new to. I don't know of another battle royale game that has that. So
true, yeah, and that's I don't know. I feel like everything that we talk about is just going to be like, and that's another thing that I like about it, because the pinging system, for anybody that hasn't played it, basically you can tap right bumper, and depending on what your reticle is pointing at, it will change the dialogue that's spoken from your character.
Yeah.
So like if you're pointing at a helmet or something, your character will say like helmet over here, level 1, and that will inform your team, hey, there is X piece of gear over here. I don't need it, but if one of you do, you can come and grab it. And you can do that with like stuff you can pick up. You can ping enemies, and you can even do like kind of custom pings if you press and hold right bumper. So you can, like, if you don't know that an enemy is nearby, but like there are open doors, you can just say a ping that, like, hey, someone's been here, we should watch out. And when you're actually in a party and everything, a lot of that becomes unnecessary. But I feel like that pinging system makes the game substantially more enjoyable as a solo queue.
Yep.
And since the game is squads only, like there is no solo option, at least right now.
Squads of 3.
Yes, and squads of 3.
And it's definitely balanced around that.
Yeah.
Although there's some people that can go... I think there's a way that you can go in with only 2.
I mean...
Because I've seen... I watched a video online of Gold Glove playing, and he was in a squad of 2. Like, there was no third person. And...
Did they die or something?
No. Just from the start, it was only him and his friend. And then there was... one of the champions in the game that we played last night was in a squad of 2 at the beginning. I don't know if they disconnected or whatever, but yeah. I know in PUBG there was a way that you could go into a squads game with only yourself if you said no to matchmaking. Like you say, I don't want to matchmake with other people. I don't know if that's an option in Apex.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked.
I don't know why you would necessarily, but unless you're like, oh, I'm just so damn good at the game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
but yeah. Like anyway, so it's there.
Balanced around squads of 3, and I think they give you enough tools that if you aren't able or you don't want to talk to the other person, that you can still be useful and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's part of just what makes it enjoyable for me, because like, if we're not playing together or something, I still feel like I can go in and play and have fun and not be completely by myself. Like if I was, solo queuing in PUBG, like either I'm a detriment to my squad because I have no way of communicating with them. Yeah. Or if I'm just doing a solo match, like I'm alone. Yeah. But I have no one to watch my back.
It's so it's very random in a solo queue.
Yeah.
Unless you know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, it's. I feel like what they did, like when they made this game, they sat down and they were like, "Look, Battle Royale is awesome. We all know it, but what do Battle Royale games not do at this point? Like what?"
They're not they're not versatile.
I feel like they probably sat down for like 2 weeks and played a bunch of different Battle Royale games and were like, okay, write down any frustration that you have. And it's like, oh, I couldn't communicate to my teammates without a mic, or the switching attachments was cumbersome, and they took all those and were like, all right, we're designing systems to fix those. Here's our Battle Royale game.
Yeah.
And so playing devil's advocate here for just a little bit. And I don't even like really believe this, and I'll kind of tell you why at the end. But the thing about there's a potential for a meta to appear where like these are the 3 best heroes together, or best 3 characters to play together, like, and I don't want that to happen. Basically, like that being said, and this is where I don't necessarily believe it. The skills are not game breaking. None of them are really game breaking.
Yeah.
Like
I see where you're coming from, and I kind of agree, especially with characters like the medic character. I feel like almost if you don't have one on your team,
I
that you're
think
almost at a disadvantage.
I think the medic or Gibraltar, the shield guy, are absolutely necessary.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like we have seen and been beaten by plenty of teams that don't have either of those.
Yeah.
So again, I could definitely see it
Mm-hmm.
potentially becoming an issue. But another thing that I think works against that becoming a problem
Mm-hmm.
is simply the random nature of the circles. Because, I mean, you know, like Gibraltar's bubble ability would be great in like those open scorched fields and that kind of thing because it provides cover where there isn't any. But in some of the more canyon areas, it's not really going to help you out a whole lot because there's already plenty of cover. And now all you're doing is essentially just opening yourself up for people jumping down on top of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that like I said, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but it could potentially, especially as they release more heroes or whatever to play as. Yeah, it's a tough one. Because I don't want to go in because one of the nice things about like other battle royale games is like everyone starts at the exact same level, right? It's there's no advantage and there's not even like an advantage here. Like certain abilities are annoying to deal with, but they're not hard. Like even like the airstrike that comes in I've never seen anyone get hit by anything.
I think I've been hit by one, but like it didn't kill me. Like you have to be injured or hit with multiple.
Like in that clip in that win, like I dropped an airstrike just to kind of like push them further back around that corner. Like that's like I didn't intend to kill anyone. I was just like because like I was coming around, like I had like a little bit of high ground, but I wanted to just get that last little bit of high ground without any danger. So I dropped it and they backed up. Like it had its intended effect. It was like, but it was more crowd control than like, and like hurting more than like going for
lethal.
A kill. Yeah, and like it's a giant fucking airstrike. Like that should be a kill. Like when you think about it, and like when I heard that there was a character that dropped an airstrike, I was like, that's kind of dumb. Like that's not.
And then you realize like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's like honestly, I think like when like
the frag grenades you can pick up are stronger. I think.
Yeah. I was like, it's really like the abilities are almost just non-issues. I think this honestly the strongest thing is the passive on the medic that like when you're reviving you get a shield, like when you revive a teammate.
Yeah, Gibraltar has a pretty strong passive as well. Where he gets that shield that comes up in front of him when he ADSs and everything. And I think it's really cool that you can toggle that on and off.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. Like we can theorize like, oh, what's too strong, what's not too strong, and I mean, honestly, it's just like it's all pretty well balanced. Like I don't think that anyone. Yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to think. Like, there's just.
I think the only thing that's too strong is one of the like super rare drops from like the supply drops and everything, which is the Caber sniper rifle. It's like a 50 cal basically, and you can like two-shot someone from like 300 yards away. So
I mean, okay, like that's not like,
but that's kind of like, I mean, you have to have a scope to deal with at that range. And it doesn't come with one, so
I feel like that's balanced by the fact that it's a rare drop that you have to go fight for. Like, and like if you go for a supply drop and you win in the supply drop, you deserve it. And that's sort of the like we were talking about it, like, or like I was talking about it last night, where it was like let's drop into spicy areas. It's like it's spicy, you should get good loot, and like you get early fights, like and like that's more fun to me than dropping in, looting for 10 minutes, and then going into a fight like later, and maybe you win, maybe you don't.
I agree after having done it and everything, and part of why I have a tendency to drop in like the less populated areas at at least up until now. Essentially, is because I feel like it helps me learn.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I think
the map
like,
and how the game plays and everything.
No,
so.
absolutely. I think that like for the first like few games, you like just learn how to play the game, like drop off somewhere, like so you can loot, like learn how to loot quickly, learn how to like shoot your guns and all that. But then like once you know those basics, get into it. Because that's how you get good.
Next time we play, we're gonna need to drop into the hot zones.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you knew this, but there are like kind of like these zombie areas in Blackout. There are zones, or there's a zone on the map at the very beginning where there's like guaranteed high-end loot.
Okay.
And you can go there, and it's marked on the map with like a blue circle, I think.
Let's get real spicy.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. Just add a little spice to it. Yeah. The other thing that I like is if you die, your team has a chance to resurrect you, and you don't you don't get anything. Like you don't get any of your stuff back, but it's a cool mechanic.
But you can still come back. Yeah, and that's something that that is something that Blackout recently added, but I think it's a separate game mode.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of one of those things of like it's a separate game mode, but it's also like the most popular version of the game right now.
I have a feeling that that's probably going to come back in or something like that. That being said, I think that based on when you get revived, like if you get revived at the beginning of a game, maybe you don't get anything because there's still loot around. But if you're getting revived and there's like 5 squads left, give like like level 1 armor, level 1 helmet. Like I
agree with you to a certain extent.
Maybe not like necessarily all that, but like give a gun, like a pistol, even like just a little something.
Well, I mean, again, I agree to a certain extent, but my main argument against that is like if you're in like I said, the last 5 squads and you manage to pull a revive off, chances are you're really close to other people as it is. So there's most likely death boxes around at the very least.
Yeah.
And I feel like it should be kind of, if your team revives you, assuming you're in a team with like, comms and stuff, that late in the game, then you should be able to go like, okay, like,
yeah,
we have the shittiest luck. There are no death boxes. Literally everything has been looted somehow. Here, have my secondary gun.
Yeah, I'm not like, this isn't like a game breaking or like if they don't ever change it, like I'm not upset by it by any means. Like I think it's fine as it is. It's just that like there's a part of me that's like everything else in the game is so dedicated to getting you to the fun that like this part of it is not fun for the person that's respawning. It's like it's cool like because like you're sitting there like you're waiting for a couple minutes when like otherwise like if you're playing solo for instance like in any other game it's like okay I died I can leave now. Like if you're playing Blackout solo squad you're like okay I died I'm gonna go back out going. But like this one is like I mean it happened to you like where we revived you and then you didn't have anything and then it was pretty much like nothing you could do. Yeah, if you're playing solo like yeah with the comms like you have options, but even those options aren't fun because you're giving up your secondary weapon to your teammate or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's kind of where like I'm willing to differentiate between what's fun and winning, because I feel like there has to be a trade-off there. Like if you're only going to be worried about fun, then you're probably not worried about winning. So you would be willing to either not revive that person at all or give up a gun so that they can share in the fun.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about winning, then you would definitely probably give them a gun so they have a fighting chance and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a trade-off. Like I said, I see where you're coming from, and I agree to a certain extent.
maybe just like
I've been the guy that comes in with nothing, and there's like, 6 squads left, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I die unarmed.
Yeah.
Again.
I'm not talking like fully decked out or anything like that. Just like a just like an SMG and like or a shotgun
or like a pistol. No, because SMGs and shotguns are too strong. Just like a light pistol.
Fine, a light pistol.
And 50 rounds.
A body like one piece of body armor, just so like you can take a shot, whatever. Like and then then you go scavenge and then like pretty soon you swap out all that. But it's just like it gives you something like just a fighting chance. I think is like all I'm asking for on that. Yeah.
I understand.
Not I don't. Yeah, I mean you're right. Like SMGs and shotguns are probably too strong. Like the fucking Peacekeeper's so good, so money.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, a lot of the pistols are really strong too. And I mean I feel like that's kind of part of why maybe you don't spawn in with anything is that like all of the guns are actually really well balanced. There aren't really any guns that are full stop bad.
Yeah,
they're just situational, because I've had to use a light pistol before and I've won gunfights with one. And I've had to use heavy pistols, and I've had to use the Mozambique, which is the little like shotgun pistol thing, and I've won fights with them before. It's not easy, but I don't think those weapons are necessarily supposed to be used as a primary. They're kind of supposed to be, you're like, oh shit, I ran out of ammo, let me swap real quick type of thing. But I don't know.
I think okay, fine. Maybe you get like level 1 armor, level 1 helmet, no guns, and you like it just like a little extra protection so you can run around and not die instantly. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, this is not something that's like. Again, if they never address it, never change it, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, I'm quitting the game. Like it's just kind of like it's a slight little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that they balance that in a way is the majority, if not all, of the respawn stations have those supply crates around them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, typically you're not going to find great loot in those to begin with. So most people are going to either bypass them completely or, they might open them up and grab the ammo or something. And that's it. At least in my experience, that's what it's been.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're talking semantics at this point.
Oh yeah, no, so. I mean like, mostly like we're just like declaring this is the greatest battle royale game in the world. I'm like just kind of finding something to be annoyed with. Like, I mean, the other thing that the other thing that we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely positive. Is detailing damage is so much better in this than like I don't usually enjoy like the comic book like damage readouts where it's like, oh, you did like this much damage. Like it kind of like ruins the immersion for me. But it's so nice. Like it even tells you how much damage you do to the shields versus how much you do to the health.
Yep.
And like even I noticed that, and I'm colorblind. And
because I feel like there's PUBG where the only thing you get is hit markers.
You get blood,
and then
you get blood in PUBG, which is a hit marker, but it doesn't mean
see it from really far away.
It doesn't mean shit.
So you get like blood / a hit marker, whatever, in PUBG, and then in Blackout you get a hit marker, and if they have armor, you get the little armor symbol, but you have no idea what level that armor is. And I feel like Apex, like you said, it's basically just sort of like, here's literally all of the information you need to know.
Yeah.
And I know that the main argument against that is going to be like, well, that's not like very realistic or whatever, or it takes away some of the challenge because you can shoot someone once and essentially know what they have. But I have never really been one to play video games for their realism.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted supreme realism, I would fucking buy a gaming computer and go play Armor 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do.
It's one of those things where I think if you did this, like, if you put that system in Call of Duty, it wouldn't fit. I'd be like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But based on the art style of the rest of Apex Legends, I guess, if, full name, it fits really well. And I like
it does.
It's kind of, Fortnite has the same system in terms of like readout, damage readout, I believe. I don't know. I know that it gives you numbers when you shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know if the numbers are as specific as like what they are in Apex, but they do. It gives you numbers. It fits in those kind of like more cartoony games.
Yeah.
And so I'm 100% okay with it here. And it's lovely. So in Blackout, so in both games, in Blackout and, or I guess even in PUBG, you have 3 different levels of armor. You have level 1, level 2, level 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a visual difference in Apex. Like, I don't see a visual difference on the characters at all. In Call of Duty, if you have level 3 armor, you're a little bit bulky. Like, there's like a little bit more bulk to your character. And then like I have no idea what the difference between level 1 and level 2 is visually. And then PUBG, it's kind of the same thing, as where like you're a little bit bulkier, but it's so hard to read what they have, even though you're looking right at it. Helmets are a lot easier. It's like, okay, level 1 is the motorcycle helmet, level 2 is like the army helmet, and level 3 is like you got a face mask. So you can really read that very easily. But that all being said, even though like the character model doesn't really update, I feel like I have a much better grasp on what my opponents have in Apex. Like, I'm not surprised when it's like, oh, okay, how many shots does it take to kill this guy? Like, it all feels fair. I don't even know the numbers. Like, I don't know how much damage you can take when you have like the highest armor. Like, but like it feels right. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels good.
It's like 50 health essentially. I think.
Yeah, I like I said, I have no idea, but I know that it feels right. Like there's something about it that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, he's not dead yet, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But like if I'm shooting someone in Blackout and they don't die like after like 3 shots, I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? This is right.
Well, I mean,
what do they have?
Yeah, well, and part of the reason that I had trouble enjoying Blackout is, regardless of the visibility of their level of armor and everything, there were times where it's like, I would have like the 50 cal sniper or the 50 cal machine gun or something, and I would fucking peg someone with like a good number of rounds, like with the machine gun, like 5, 6, 7 or whatever, and then the sniper it's like 2, 3, and they're still just kind of running around doing their thing. And like, when the one time that I've gotten the K-Burst sniper rifle in Apex, I was able to 2-shot some guy that I think was at full health, and he had level 2 armor. So I mean, that stands to reason that like level 3 armor would probably be 3 shots, maybe even still 2 if I managed to hit 2 headshots or something like that, right? And that feels appropriate. But in Blackout, when it's like I pegged someone 3 times with this 50 caliber sniper rifle, and they're perfectly fine. Like,
I think it definitely stems from, you got the hit markers on Call of Duty that don't mean anything. Like, I have no idea how much damage I do with like an SMG versus an assault rifle. All I know is I got a hit marker. Like,
yeah, true.
When I shoot someone in Apex, I know exactly how much damage I did. Like, I'm like, okay, I did 14 damage on this hit. did 60 damage on that hit, whatever. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Because like, and like in Call of Duty's like hit marker system is based off its like regular multiplayer. So like I absolutely understand, but in regular multiplayer, like all the guns basically do the same amount of damage. Like you kind of know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the difference between like, you know, instead of it's like, oh well, this is an SMG, so it's 4 shots versus like the 3 shots from this DMR. You know.
Yeah. Like. And like I guess Blackout, like you do have the do you see, no, you don't see their health bars in Blackout. You see them in multiplayer, but you don't see them in Blackout. I'm like 90% sure on that.
I think you're correct. It's been a while since I've played it, so
yeah, I would imagine that you don't see their so you literally have no idea how much damage you did to them. Like you can't, like if you play it enough, like I watched Gold Glove's highlights videos, and like he knows because he plays, you know, 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like he knows how much damage he's done. He's not surprised when the sniper doesn't down someone. He's like, hit him. All right, cool. Now I gotta hit him again. And it's like, okay, I don't have the time for that in my life. I want to see that shit like right in front of me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a strange disconnect. It's like the more that I think about it, especially in comparison to Blackout specifically, because realistically, the only difference between Blackout and Apex for this situation that we're talking about is Apex adds a different color depending on the level of armor to the number that pops up, and there are numbers. And that's just like such a strange thing to me. Just simply because, I mean, like I said before, I know that some people are like, oh, well, you know, the numbers make it less realistic, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, again,
you know what makes it really unrealistic is the robot that runs around. I don't know. Like, the whole game is unrealistic. But anyway, I digress.
Or, you know, like in fucking Call of Duty, how you just fucking wingsuit down into the ground and then like that. There you go. Or do they parachute? They use parachutes, right?
On the airplane, they have a parachute off the airplane. But if you wingsuit in the middle of the game, you just wingsuit.
Oh, right.
And then land,
because that's how that works.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you get when you're in the military and you're shooting people, you get the hit markers to let you know. That you
right. Yeah. Yeah. And
like, if you get shot in the head, you can take it. Yeah. If you get shot in the head, you can take it. You
can totally take it.
Yeah. Realism.
But I don't know. It's a strange thing to complain about for me, just simply because I feel like just sitting here talking about it, it doesn't sound like it should make that much of a difference, but it really does. But like, if we were to take that same methodology and apply it to like a standard multiplayer game, like if they had a, you know, like a PvP like deathmatch and not a battle royale style, and they had that same setup, I wouldn't like it.
I agree. And you want to know why that is?
Why?
At least for me. Because if you're playing a battle royale game, you're signing up for anywhere from a 1 minute to a 15-minute experience, 20-minute, depending on the battle royale. Some like PUBG can get up to like 25, 30 minutes. You want it to be fair, and in the moment, like I don't want to like lose a like be in the game for 10-15 minutes and then lose a fight and then not know why I lost the fight. If it's a regular multiplayer game, I'm much more okay with, like, oh, I just didn't shoot him enough. I respawn, do it again. Like, do better. You don't get to do better in a battle royale game because you're done.
Yeah. So I don't know that either of us will be able to answer this.
Ooh, I can answer it. I'll pull the answer out of my ass, but I got you.
Well, you play this game less than I do. In Destiny 2's multiplayer, do the damage numbers show up in there? I know they do in the PvE, but what about PvP? I can't remember. I think they do.
See, I haven't played really since Destiny 1.
Yeah, I know. Which is why I said you wouldn't be able to answer it.
I'm replaying sniper clips in my head.
You know, maybe
yes.
I have...
Yes. They do. They do show up. But they're
okay.
They're very small. They I think they show up in like little white numbers, unless you get a headshot and they're yellow numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I know that part is correct. It's just whether or not they were showing up at all.
They show up in PvP. They do.
Okay, so if with that being the case, why? Because I know that at least in Destiny 1. Okay. Wow. Thanks for the spammy pop-up. Xboxclips.com.
Oh, crap. Okay, I don't remember. What the hell?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm fairly certain.
I think that they do.
That they do. Yeah. I think that they do, but I don't want to like.
It's been so long.
Anyways, to my question, assuming that they do, what makes that different?
I think that's because the core game, or like not the core game, but like the rest of Destiny also shows it. Like all aspects of the game show you that number.
So do you think it's primarily because of the fact that it has a PvE element?
I think that definitely helps make it okay. You know what? Now thinking about it, it might not. No, it does.
Fuck. I'm digging through trying to find.
The problem is that I deleted all my Destiny clips a little while ago.
Yeah, I know.
I had some really good Destiny clips. I kind of regret it.
Okay. Here we go. Here's the PvP clip. Let's see. Hopefully, I hit someone in this. We'll find out.
It turns out it's the one recording that you made because you didn't you missed all your shots. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? It's like when I recorded that Siege clips. Okay.
The numbers are there. Confirmed.
Yeah. Done it. Okay.
So then I guess like let's imagine a world where Apex Legend was like a full-fledged game, if you will.
Okay.
In quotes there, because I don't want to define what makes a game.
With a PvE element and PvP element.
Yeah, so like it was essentially Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but with a campaign, let's say.
Okay.
So there's a campaign, and let's say there weren't damage numbers in the campaign, or maybe let's say there were.
Mm-hmm.
Would then damage numbers in the standard PvP feel correct or incorrect still?
Correct. I think that they would feel at home.
And what if they kind of went the route of the
not in the campaign, not in PvP, but in the battle royale mode?
Yeah, or even just only not in the campaign, but in everything else. So there's like uniformity within multiplayer, and it just wasn't in the campaign.
I think I'm okay with that. It's a hard question because it's purely hypothetical.
Yeah.
I think that we need to look at it not with Apex, but just you're designing a multiplayer game.
Okay.
From scratch. And comes up to you and says, okay, where are we going to show the damage numbers to the player? And I mean, I think it just comes from an art direction. Like, I think it's gonna come from like the art direction side is like, okay, like this or like UI design. And like it's such a tough question to answer.
I would agree that it's to answer.
And like it's such a little thing, but it's kind of like really important. Is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that in this hypothetical scenario, the appropriate solution would be to have uniformity across your game if you had more than 2 game modes. Because I could see a world where maybe a game had PvE and standard PvP, if you will, and only the PvE had damage numbers.
Okay.
I could see that. But I could also see, like you said, art direction or even like studio leadership or someone declaring, no, we need to just make this base across the game. That way,
I will say that I think I would be frustrated if we ended up in a world where they were different, just because I could see there being frustration where if in one you got the damage readout numbers, the other is like, okay, I have no idea how much damage I'm doing. Whether it's in PvE where it's like how much damage am I dealing to this monster? I don't know.
Okay.
Or in PvP, it's like, how much damage am I doing here? All I have to go off of is what was happening in the PvE element going over.
So I guess like to further this example then, and we're getting like super off topic here. But
well, I mean,
I'm enjoying this conversation. So
I mean, we're also an hour and 4 minutes into this, so
yeah. Well, whatever. So let's say PvE with damage numbers.
PvE with damage. Okay. Yeah.
PvP, no damage numbers, but you still have like health and shield readouts. Like in Destiny or something. Or Blackout or Black Ops 4 rather.
Yeah. And you get the health bars and the health on all that on PvE as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I think.
Okay.
I think that it.
Yeah, I mean,
because the whole thing. Okay, like, because then you just get into this whole like, how much damage is being dealt in PvP? Does it matter? Is it like, because at a certain point, right? Like, you're not dealing the same amount of damage as you are to the monsters necessarily, unless like you set it up that way.
Yeah.
So then, like, if in the campaign, I dealt like 6,000 damage to that thing. In PvP, it's like you dealt 150. like the numbers, like, little known fact about video games is like the numbers behind things are pretty like arbitrary. There's obviously the design decisions behind it, but for the most part, it's like, okay, my gun does this much because it was decided to do that much to a player versus like in campaign. Like, I know in Gears or like in most games when it's like, okay, like you go from like casual to a certain number, it's like it just increases the enemy's health. The damage stays the same that you're doing. It's just you have to do more of it. Yeah. And like, I don't think the guns in PvP and PvE do the same amount of damage in Gears, for instance. I think like, I don't really know. So it's an interesting thing. It's like, how much do you want to tell your player, I guess?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, and as you know, big Gears of War fan that I am. I know a good deal about how much like the Nashor does at a certain range and how much the Lancer does at a certain range. And they made the bold decision to show you how much damage you did after you died. So like if you shot someone, it's like, oh, you did 60% damage to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And they've come out and they said like, yeah, we knew that was kind of a risk because people are going to complain and like find some holes in like how our weapons work. Mm-hmm. Particularly with the shotgun, there was massive uproar when like a lot of people were getting 83% on shots that quote unquote should have killed, and I'm sitting there looking at the clips and I'm like, guys, you're too far away. like that's not give range. And like they granted, like there was like a little bit of a thing where like it was like too sharp of a thing for whatever they wanted to do, so they fixed it. So now 83% are more rare. Still happen because people get too far away. People complain, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, you missed.
You missed.
But yeah, it's just it's an interesting thing because you got to give information, but you don't necessarily want to like ruin anything with too much information.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
Last kind of like
hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical.
I'm
in. When it comes to games that have a PvE and PvP that utilize a shared like inventory, essentially, like Destiny, The Division, that kind of thing.
Probably the Anthem. No, Anthem doesn't have PvP as far as.
Correct.
Okay.
At launch, I would hope, based off of when I played the open demo and everything, that they don't add PvP, because I feel like that would hamper a lot of what makes the game fun. But that's an entirely different conversation. What do you think about like games when it comes to balancing weapons? Like if like let's say in the Division 2 comes out and there's a shotgun that's like really powerful, and it's basically like the meta weapon in the Dark Zone and everything. How do you feel when developers go and edit that weapon across the board?
So that we've had this conversation before off stream.
Oh, we have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably a few times actually. I know that you have very strong opinions on this. Yeah. So I guess like to kind of clarify for people who don't understand the question, in game like Destiny or Division, you like whether you're doing PvE content or PvP content, you have the same weapons. Like it's a shared sandbox, shared inventory, as you said. So like if you have a shotgun in one and it's really good in PvP, it's going to do a lot of damage in PvE as well, like, and vice versa. And you're in, if I remember correctly, you're a fan of splitting those two and having two different basically two different tunings.
Yeah, so within reason.
With it, yeah, like it's not like the shotgun like has this range, like in PvE, like the shotgun shoots across the map, and like in PvP, it's like like they should function the same, but perhaps have different damage values based on the content.
Yes.
Yeah.
By and large, I think.
I'm gonna be okay. Yes. I do agree with you. I think that it's one of those things where I think you can cheese it a little bit in a way where it's like, because in Destiny, like, bosses have so much health, like the numbers are just like cartoonish. I think you're doing like, if I remember correctly, like 10,000 damage a shot or something like that.
It
depends on the weapon.
A lot of things.
Yeah, but like you can get some pretty ridiculous numbers.
Yeah.
You just don't. Yeah, you just don't show those numbers in PvP. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't see a reason to not adjust weapons in the PvP aspect, just because like it makes, because in a game like that where like when you're doing a raid in Destiny, like speccing out perfectly for that raid is so important. And then PvP, speccing out for PvP is also very important.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no way, I don't think there's a way for that to be perfectly balanced. In an ideal world, there's a perfect balance there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there is.
But, so, we kind of went away from, like, what I was trying to ask, like, slightly. So, again, we'll just say, like, with my division example, like, let's say there was a shotgun, and in PvE it was really, really good because it had, some decent range and still packed a punch. Like, let's say it was a slug shotgun.
Okay.
But because of balance and everything, like, they still made it have a shorter range than what a real world slug shotgun would have, right?
Totally fine.
And in PvP, it still has, like, the same effective range and everything, but because it's slug shotgun, like, let's say it can get, precision hits or something like that, or headshots or whatever, and do an extra amount of damage. In a situation where essentially it's the weapon in both PvE and PvP, would you think a blanket nerf of, like, maybe reduced range would be appropriate? Or do you think, okay, it's only a problem, quote unquote, in PvP, whereas PvE, it's more of a power fantasy type of thing?
Gotcha.
So maybe in PvP, like, we do something that alters the function of the gun that is completely separate from PvE, so that, like, maybe they remove the headshot damage multiplier, or shorten the range, or widen the spread of the shot, or something.
Okay, so you're saying actually change, like, the core function of it.
Yeah, and nothing, like, so drastic that, like, you can't easily swap between.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I feel like that's a struggle that a lot of developers come across, and I feel like it's a very interesting problem. And I've thought about it a lot, and I've never really been able to come up with, like, a perfect solution, like you said.
I think it's a really tough one, because on the one hand, particularly with function, I want to know that they're the same. Granted, like, I'm coming from I care more about competitive than I do about PvE, because, like, but when these two games are together, your performance in PvE doesn't impact your performance in PvP, because you can't make it too easy to get all the stuff, right? Like, because that's the point of the game, and you can't make it too easy to kill people with a certain gun in PvP, because if everyone's running around with the same weapon, then it gets boring. I think I'm leaning towards blanket nerf.
Okay, and what if?
But I'm not. I'm not locking that in.
Sure. Okay, so let's just say that you locked it in. You blanket nerf. That fixes it for PvP, so it's still viable, but
it
it's
makes
not
it unusable.
Well, yeah, it makes it basically completely unusable in PvE. Yeah. Then what do you do? Would you then try and, like, find, like, that middle ground, like, maybe buff it back up a little bit, but not to the original value of whatever you changed? Or would you maybe try and figure out some sort of
I guess, like, here's kind of how I would look at it. I think I would balance for PvP, because I feel like PvE exists in a vacuum, in a way, where no matter what you do, given enough time, which in a lot of cases is like 2 days, people are going to find the absolute best way. Like, whatever it happens to be, they're going to find the most efficient way to beat an encounter. And I don't think there's a way to find a perfect balance that makes every single weapon viable in a PvE environment.
Sure.
And so I think that you have, like, in PvP though, you want to give everyone different play styles. You want to make sure that, like, things are completable in PvE as they can, like, with any weapon, ideally, within reason. But yeah, I think they.
So let me clarify, I guess. This was my mistake. I was being almost too specific. Let's say it's less a specific weapon and more a archetype of weapon.
Okay.
Like, let's say assault rifles are way too powerful.
Okay.
And if you apply the nerf, and now every single assault rifle is largely unusable or otherwise outclassed by everything else in PvE specifically, but it's fine in PvP now.
Yeah.
Would, like, as a developer, do you think and we're imagining a world where, like, time and money are no object.
Yeah.
Would you tweak each individual weapon at that point? And instead of doing, like, a blanket, like, weapon class nerf, just, like, adjust the values of individual weapons? Or would you, again, like, try and find that middle ground? Or do you think it would be better to just, like, separate the two into their individual silos of, like, it functions slightly differently, but still in the same general ballpark between PvE and PvP?
That's a big oof question. Oof. That's
let me tell you what I think my answer would be. Again, if, like, time and money were no object, I would, assuming I had access to it, I would look at the metadata and essentially figure out, like, what the most popular weapons within that class were, and I would maybe tweak the individual stats of those specific weapons, and then also do, like, another, like, like, entire weapon archetype buff to, like, maybe bring it back up a little bit from where it was, but not all the way. That way, the more popular ones are, like, pulled back a little bit further, but I don't know. I feel like that would be the best option, but I mean, that's all, like, completely speculative and everything. I'm obviously not, like, a designer. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. So I just enjoy these thought exercises.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good one, and I don't know if there's a right answer. Honestly, in, like, a lot of design decisions, there's not a right answer.
It's kind of like which bad situation do we want?
Yeah, and that's something that, like, I kind of going back to Gears. Like, my friend Matt and we have arguments about Gears all the time because he hates certain things about the game, and I'm just like, what's the alternative?
That's the game.
Yeah, like, what do you want? Like, because he doesn't like the fact that, like, there's such a harsh line between when a shotgun chunks and when a shotgun doesn't chunk, and I'm like, but what do you want different? Like, there's always that line. Like, there's not a middle ground.
Be that line.
Yeah, there's not a middle ground. Like, what do you want? And he's like, I don't know.
He wants the velocity and spin on every pellet to be calculated by the system so that it does variable amounts of damage at the exact same range. Clearly, that's the correct answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think your answer is a pretty solid one. I think you do have to adjust individual weapons. I don't think you can go by archetype. Where, like, assault rifles, sniper rifles, etc. I don't think that they can all fit, because assuming that you're doing your job as a designer, they all function differently enough that
to justify their existence.
Yeah. Whether it's rate of fire versus, you know, just damage or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you have one that's like dominating, it's like very clearly like this is the way to play, then yeah, I think you have to tune down that particular one. And again, assuming you did your job correctly, like it's not just like the way that it's designed that makes it super strong,
appealing.
Like I feel like I think it was the 1,000-yard stare in Destiny, where, you know, anecdotally, like every like trials that we ever played, the other team always had 1,000-yard stare, at least one.
At least one,
probably
if
two.
Not three.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I fucking love that gun.
Yeah, but you didn't even have like the ultimate roll or
no,
whatever.
I did not. I just had the base like aim assist that gun came with. I didn't have the perk. I didn't even know that perk existed until like I saw it on another sniper rifle, and I was like, you mean to tell me I could be even better? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But like at that time I didn't care enough to like try and like reroll or whatever. But anyway.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that was almost like a fundamental design flaw with that weapon. It was just so much better than any other sniper, except for I think like the exotic one. But
well, it depends on what you were using it for.
Yeah.
And it also depends on at what stage in Destiny 1 you're talking about. Because I mean, like early Destiny 1, then like yes, sure, but late Destiny 1, after they did all like the special ammo changes and everything, where it's like you spawn with it, and then if you die you don't have it anymore, and but
anyway, but yeah, I felt like, I guess when everyone was using it very consistently, it was kind of fundamentally flawed in that way.
Okay. So
but yeah, I don't know, it's so fucking hard of a question, dude.
It really is, but we're gonna move away from that.
Okay.
One last question to both get us back on topic and to
wrap up this hour and a half long podcast.
End the podcast. If there was one change that you could make to Apex Legends to improve it, what would it be?
You go first, because I feel like you have an answer. I don't have an answer off the top of my head.
I think that the labeling and the consistency of the loot areas, although a great thing, can probably in the long run result in a stale experience. So I think like, you know how Docks is a high tier loot area, and so is like that satellite array and everything. I feel like if they added some amount of variability to that, so that you were still notified of the loot tier that you're in when you get there,
I got you,
but it's random. Because for me personally, I feel like there's no value in landing inside of some of the high tier areas.
Yeah.
Just simply because you're not going to get good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just plain and simple.
I agree with you to an extent. I disagree because it drives the openings. Like, it definitely creates a meta and can create a stale experience in a way, but it drives the opening to know where that loot is. I guess if it popped up, you open the map, and on the map
showed you before you dropped,
showed you where the high loot was going to be, I'd be much more okay with that. But if you don't know where before you drop, then you just kind of like, everyone just kind of like chooses a random place, and the openings can be a lot more boring. Like one of the you're playing PUBG, it's like, okay, we're gonna, if you want a spicy round, you go to school or you go to military base, and you got your spice, because everyone knows that's where they go, because that's where the best loot is, are those two places. Like, and I think that's very important for a lot, like for the more serious players, where it's like, I want to get in, I want to get a fight, and like the only way to know that is like that's where people drop.
The main reason I was saying that is because I didn't realize that PUBG actually had defined like quality areas. I thought it was all completely random.
No, you can like find a Car 98 in a random building sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they and I mean, Blackout I believe is the same, where like there's different tiers based on like where you go.
Okay.
Like you're much more likely. Yeah.
I just kind of assumed that like, you know, school and military base were like the area to go just simply because they had a larger number of loot spawn points.
No,
comparatively
you get
to elsewhere.
You generally, I don't remember if it's like an exact thing, but it is. I believe you're more likely to find those like more powerful weapons in those areas.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well,
and all that. Yeah. Like if you like if you land off somewhere else, like you're less likely to find an assault rifle. If you like land in a couple like random houses, like you'll get a pistol, a shotgun, maybe an SMG or whatever, but you're not as likely to get an assault rifle. You're definitely not going to get a sniper like 99.9% of the time. That kind of thing.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you've obviously played it way more than I have, so I trust your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I think Apex you can make that work really well is like because they do tell you is just at the beginning of the map, you know, randomly assign loot tiers to areas. Show that on the map is like this area is now a high loot area or high tier area.
Yeah.
And it's like if you want some spice, go there. If you want a little less spice, go to the medium tier or the low tier or whatever. Like if you're if you need some milk, you go there.
Okay. So do you have one or too last minute of a thing?
I think just off the top of my head, I would like the option to play different squad sizes. Just because 3 is kind of an awkward number. It
is.
Like
I feel like duos or quads are usually where people land when they think.
Yeah, I'm fine with like it's such a small thing, but like I mean, like right before I got on with you, like I was in a Discord. I was trying to play on PC with some people. There were 5 of us. Like, and like I mean, to be fair, like it would have broken down really nice if there was like 3 and 2 were options. Obviously, like obviously 4 and then 1's not a good option for that particular case. But like, it just kind of was like, okay, 3 is such a weird number.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, but gameplay wise, I felt like it might just be anecdotal because like the couple of times that I've had an energy weapon that needed energy ammo, it wasn't around. And I could never find any. I don't know if that's just like completely anecdotal. Like
it might be a little bit of both, because both with energy weapons and other types of gear in that game, whether it's body armor or helmets or med kits or something, I feel like there's very little middle ground. You either find all of it or none of it.
Yeah.
Like there was one time I walked into a building and there were 4 level 1 body armors in that building.
Yeah.
And it's like even if I had my full squad, there would still be extras.
There was one time I opened up those supply crates, that like supply boxes, I guess, and one had 2 level 1 armors. Walked over to another one, 2 level 1 armors. Went to the next one, 1 level 1 armor. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious if there's something up with like the spawn system, or like the loot spawn system then.
Yeah.
Where like
there might be, but it's kind of one of those things of like, it's hard to tell because
Yeah.
random is random, and there have been times where I've found nothing but energy ammo and shotguns or something.
Yeah.
And it's been like a mix still, but like I'm looking for light ammo.
Yeah, I energy stands out to me because that's what I tend to struggle with.
Yeah.
I like finding like I just and it's I've played 10, 15 games at this point, like, so it doesn't mean anything. I did have a very distinct impression, like after my first couple of rounds, that like energy ammo was like super rare and valuable. I was like, oh, and like that's you probably noticed me like ask you like, hey, do you need energy ammo? I got some here. Like,
yeah, I think it's mainly just simply because there are fewer weapons that require it. Because when you think about it, there is a pistol-like weapon for shotguns, light and heavy, but I don't think there's an energy ammo pistol.
Gotcha.
And then same thing with like, full auto and burst fire weapons. Like there is there's no burst fire shotgun, but there's shotgun heavy and light ammo variants of that weapon archetype. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just maybe like look at that, tighten that up a little bit, just in general, because
there might be
very
something
feast or
there.
there's very to tell. It does seem very feast or famine. And mostly it was just like that game really. In that particular game, I ended up having the LMG that required energy ammo, and I was like, I just needed like some ammo to pop up somewhere or another gun. Nothing. And I was like, ugh. That's kind of personal. I think I would have to play more to give you a more definitive answer. I'll think about it and I'll maybe get back to you next week.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about. So.
Oh, that's it? That you didn't want to discuss?
No more hypotheticals. I'm not going to ask you the meaning of life or
all right.
Can you solve equations to harness the power of the sun or anything like that. I don't want you building me a Dyson sphere yet.
Okay, I got you. We'll tackle that next week. Anyway, so we this is the first time that we really took full advantage of the fact that we don't have to edit and upload a podcast. Which is kind of like the reason why I wanted to try out the streaming setup, is that like, if we were having such a great time talking about it, we talk about it for an hour and a half. Could have gone 2 hours probably. But coming up on noon, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I'm very freaking hungry. And so we're going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I think it's just you and me currently, but
that's okay.
If you're watching the rebroadcast, you can now know that the rebroadcast will be live at some point, and do with that information whatever you will. And thank you guys for watching this hour-and-a-half edition of the Couchcast number 83, Coltrane's number in Gears of War for those who don't know. And that's all we got for you today. So we'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Bye.
Bye. Then we go to the outro. Ba-bam! And God, that's a weird, it's a weird hypothetical, because it's like you don't want to talk about a specific game, but you don't want to not have a specific game frame of reference.
Yeah.
It's weird.